my name is Chris Shelton, coming to you from a beautiful day in sunny San Jose, California, the heart of Silicon Valley, with your DIY home remedies guide to health, happiness, and healing transformations. Today, I thought we would talk about immunity boost for autumn. That's right, we're getting into that time of year again, and just when we thought we got out of things, here we are once again in the cyclical nature of all things. The cyclical nature of all things. Because the seasons always rotate just like night and day, just like you have shifts inside your body. Daily cycles, we have weekly cycles, we have monthly cycles, yearly cycles, it goes on and on and on. So there's always the cyclical nature of things. And this last virus that we are coming out of is part of that cyclical nature of things, because throughout history, if you go back in time, there's always been viruses and bacteria, and I do believe that they do help us to strengthen our immune system as well too. But if you have a weakened immune system, then these practices that we're going to recommend today are going to be very beneficial to help you be the best person that you can possibly be. During this time of the year, what month are we in? Well, we're in the month of October, but what organ is most prone to disease? And you guessed it, if you've been following my YouTube series, the lungs are the most prone to disease. And so right now is the best time to be able to build up our lung qi to get ready for the winter months as the cold and flu season comes in. Well, the lungs function and connect with the kidneys as well as other internal organs as well, but the kidneys and the lungs have to work together. What most people don't realize is in order to inhale, the kidneys have to be strong enough to grab the breath and pull the breath down. So if you suffer from breathlessness, especially on the inhalation, then guess what? Those kidneys are the number one thing to be looking at. Then as you exhale, then what happens is the lungs then pull the moisture up from the kidneys to moisten the lungs, as well as the spaces between the skin and the muscles, because that's right, the lungs influence and control the opening of and closing of the pores, as well as the subtle spaces between the skin and the muscles. So if you have dry skin, if you get eczema during this time of the year, it's a telltale sign that your lungs are deficient, okay? So how do the lungs work? Well, what happens is that as we get into autumn, and we transition from the Indian summer months and from summer, during the summertime, for most of us, our wei qi, which is the energetic bubble that resides around us, is very expansive. So if you think of heat, what happens when something is hot? When you're hot, everything expands. As it gets cold, guess what happens? Everything starts to contract. So this is what we're starting to see right now. But if you think about being cold in the middle of winter, what do? You don't lay out stretched out like this. What you do is you curl up into a ball to keep all this heat into the vital organs in the heart. During this time of the year, our wei qi is naturally getting closer to the body. We have what is referred to as wind gates that actually reside around the neck. So as it gets cold, number one I would recommend is to make sure to go out with a scarf on, especially if it's windy, because the leading cause of diseases to go deeper in the body is wind. It doesn't matter if it's wind heat, wind dampness, wind coldness. Wind is a driving force for all disease. And if your immune system's already weak as it is, then guess what? You have more of a susceptibility to wind. And it's not only natural wind, but it's also artificial wind. What else does the lungs dislike? Well, the lungs dislike dryness. So if it is getting colder and you're inside and you have the heater on all the time, this will tend to dry up the lungs. And when it dries up the lungs, this also will injure not only our lungs, but also injure our lungs' ability to project out this wei qi. So if you do have your heater on, as long as you don't have excessive dampness, like rheumatoid arthritis, excessive swelling of the legs, those type of like edema, those types of things, then I would recommend having a humidifier inside the house to keep at least the air moist. And if you're somebody that wears a CPAP when you sleep, then I would recommend getting a CPAP that has a little water container on the side for which you put distilled water into. So that way, when you're breathing air through the CPAP machine, then you're getting moist air, which the lungs love. Again, the lungs dislike dryness, and during this time of the year, then the lungs will be injured more from dryness. So a lot of people say, Chris, I have no wei qi. And yes, we all do have a wei qi, and at some point or another, you have experienced your wei qi. So for example, if you're sitting in a line somewhere and somebody walks up behind you and you don't see them or hear them, but you feel them, that's somebody tapping into that wei qi. Or if you're sitting at a stoplight and you feel somebody staring at you, and then you look over from 4 car lengths over and you see somebody staring at you, That's somebody tapping into our Wei Qi. Okay, so besides getting a lot of sleep, because if we get enough sleep, then what will happen is our kidneys will be strong, which then will help out our lungs. Making sure not to go out into the wind. Okay, so that's number 2. And if you do go out into the wind, make sure that you wear a scarf. Making sure that if you are indoors and the air is dry because you are utilizing the heater or your wood burning stove, then you want to make sure you want to try to have a humidifier, something to keep the moisture to benefit the lungs. All right, what Qigong practices can we do? Well, number 1, we could definitely do our lung move. And we're going to do this by pulling down the heavens 1 time, inhale, and exhaling. Inhale. And exhale, just setting your intentions. So I want to set my intentions that my lungs are healthy. Inhaling and exhaling. All right, I'm just going to allow those arms to float up. I'm going to inhale, open up the chest, and then exhale. Inhale and exhale. Now, the other thing that will make the lungs more susceptible to disease is the emotions of grief, sadness, sorrow, loss, and disappointment. So if you're struggling, maybe you just lost a loved one, maybe a parent or a family member just passed away, or one of your pets just passed away, then that actually will weaken your lungs' qi and your lungs' ability to help to produce this Wei Qi. All right. So as I inhale, I'm just going to imagine a white or silver light filling up into my lungs. As I exhale, I'm going to imagine as though that grief and sorrow are leaving. But also too, I want to imagine if I'm starting to feel run down and maybe more susceptible to catching something, I can imagine that feeling, those dead or sick blood cells leaving out the hands, going several feet away from the body and deep into the ground. Okay, so if you watch enough of these videos, you'll see that I just changed it up a little bit. Normally I say imagine that the negative emotion leaves out the hands and down deep into the ground. But now what I'm saying is imagine as though the illness, the sickness, or the weakened immune system leaving out the hands. All right, so we're really using our mind intent, which is one of the 3 regulations of practicing Qigong. As I inhale, I'm going to feel this white light fill up into the lungs. As I exhale, I'm going to imagine any illness or weakened immune system, weakened blood cells leaving out the hands and going several feet and down deep into the ground. All right, and I'm going to pull that in, I'm going to press it down, I'm going to pull down the heavens 1 time, inhale, and exhale. All right, like I was talking about, those kidneys definitely play a role, so I'm going to place my left hand on my right kidney, and then as I bend at the waist, I'm going to allow for any emotions of fear and shock or fatigue. So if I'm burning the candles at both ends, I want to take note of that and start to get more sleep. So I'm going to inhale, imagine a blue cloud filling up into the kidneys. As I exhale, allow for the shock and the fear to leave. And as I'm looking at all my woolly goblins here, casting some fear away. Okay, so from here, I'm going to come to the top and then I'm going to switch, go the opposite direction, exhaling, inhale, feel the kidneys becoming stronger and feel that lung and kidney connection. Inhaling, my kidneys grab the air from the lungs, pulls it down. As I exhale, I'm going to allow for that qi to rise up to the chest and fill up into the lungs and moisten the space between the skin and the muscles. So when people tend to get colds or flus, one of the ways they can tell if something is coming on or if they have something is they may start having more frequent urination, or maybe besides frequent urination, you may notice constipation if you have too much heat in the lungs. Or if there's too much coldness, you can maybe have diarrhea. Okay, so lungs control the large intestine and the colon and the skin. All right, so helping strengthen our lungs. So as I inhale, feel the kidneys grasp the air from the lungs, pull it down to the kidneys. Then as I exhale, imagine the moisture coming up into the lungs, filling up the lungs with moisture, strengthening the lungs. Okay, so inhale again. Feel the air being grasped by the kidneys. Then as I exhale, coming down, and I'm going to allow for the lungs to then grasp that chi and then saturate the spaces between the skin and the muscles. All right, so I'm going to pull down the heavens one time. Okay, so another practice that we could go ahead to is we could go ahead and pat our lung meridian. This is where the lung acupuncture meridian begins, okay? Very important practice to do, stimulate those lungs. Now you can do this as much as you want. If you do have a cold or you feel like the onset of something, you could actually grab the chi from those points and brush it all the way down to the lung meridian, which is in the thumb. Okay, so the inner corner of the thumb here. So I'm going to pat, break up the congestion, the stagnation in the chest, and then release, okay? And release. Again, and even if you're not sick, this is a good way to help to stimulate your lungs chi, okay? Very good. So let's do the other side. And I'm going to brush, clearing out. And did you know if you have a high fever, this works especially well with small children. On the radial artery here, this is where we take our pulse and pulse diagnosis in Chinese medicine. At the base of the wrist crease, we have lungs, acupuncture points, lungs 9, 8, and 7. Then this is a very simple 20 knot technique, okay? So such a simple practice. Now, if you wanted to stimulate the bladder and the kidney meridians, because the bladder and kidney, or both the bladder and kidney meridian come up from the feet here, and actually the kidney channel actually starts from behind the balls of the feet. Then we can pat down the side here and come up on the inside and pat down the side. Okay, so I can do as many of these as I want. All right, let's do one more. All right, and then just finish off by pulling down the heavens one time. Inhale. And exhaling. Okay, the last one we go ahead and do once again is the white pearl meditation. So again, the strength of the kidneys also plays a big role in this too. The strength of the stomach and spleen does as well, because when we start to get phlegm, that's because the spleen and the stomach are out of balance, okay? We have a saying in Chinese medicine that the spleen produces the phlegm and then the lungs store it, all right? So if you're somebody who has sinusitis, gets congested easily, has phlegm in the lungs, then we have to work on this spleen. Okay, but the last practice I want to go ahead and do then is, when we're just talking about immunity boost, is making sure that my kidneys are strong. So this white pearl meditation, which is also available on Google Play, iTunes, and Spotify. Just go to Chris Shelton White Pearl Meditation and click on the link below to get access to that. For this white pearl meditation, I'm going to inhale, imagine a white mystical pearl forming underneath the hands. And as we exhale, allow for this white pearl to develop into the kidneys. Each time I inhale, the pearl gets thicker and brighter. And then as I exhale, I'm going to allow for this white light to radiate around the waist to the kidneys on the low back. As I inhale, the pearl gets brighter and brighter. And then as I exhale, feel the white light radiate around the waist to the kidneys. And let's do one more. Inhale. And exhale, radiating around the waist to the kidneys on the low back. Okay, very last practice I just want to talk you all through, and that is, our minds are very, very, very powerful. So if you tell your mind that I'm susceptible to getting sick, I have a weakened immune system, guess what you create inside your body? You actually will create the cells to become weaker, all right? So step number one is stop identifying with a weakened immune system or a hampered immune system. Your immune system is strong, healthy, and vibrant. So the meditation that I want you to do is, you do this also like the white pearl meditation. You do this from a lying down or standing position, but instead of focusing on what it is that you think that you have, I want you to focus on the opposite. I want you to focus on Even if you're starting to get something and you're kind of getting those body aches a little bit, I want you to focus on feeling. Imagine a white light just filling up inside all your tissues. And focusing on the right side of the brain. I want you to imagine, and I want you to talk to the right side of the brain and say, I want you to communicate with my cells. That my cells are healthy, vibrant, and strong. My white blood cells from my spleen circulate around, ridding the body of pathogens, viruses, bacteria. So talk to that right hemisphere of the brain and have the brain, you control the brain. And tell the brain, no, I want to co-create and manifest for myself that my immune system is strong, vibrant, and healthy. And all my cells are healthy. And if I relax enough, I could feel the 6 cells leaving out through the fingertips, out through the toes. If I'm laying in my bed or on the couch or on the floor or on the yoga mat, I can imagine that those sick and injured cells leaving out the back and deep into the ground. I now want to talk to my lymphatic system. Yeah, that lymphatic system is so important because it really helps to recycle dead blood cells. It helps with our immune system as well. Making sure that that's circulating the way that it should be. So feel the white light fill up into all the cells, expanding out into your Wei Qi. Feel this energetic bubble expand around you, front, back, left, right, above and beneath you. Moving with your breath, meaning as you inhale, this Wei Qi pulls into your being, and then as you exhale, your entire being and the Wei Qi expand outward further and further. You are healthy, vibrant, and strong. My immune system is functioning properly, doing what God or the Tao designed it to do, which is to protect my body. And as I pull you out of this meditation, I'm going to count upwards to 5. By the time I reach 5, you're going to gently open your eyes, feeling more alive, more vibrant, feeling this Wei Qi more expansive than ever before, feeling your white blood cells and the blood in your body strong and vibrant, and that you have the strongest immune system that you've ever had. So as we come back to the present, 1, I'm feeling more alive than ever. 2, and I want you to visualize the number 2. My cells are strong. My immune system is vibrant. 3, I want you to visualize the number 3. I feel my Wei Qi expansive, extending out several feet in all directions, protecting me from all pathogens, all negative energy. 4, you visualize the number 4. You feel the circulation of your lymphatic system functioning to its fullest capacity. And 5, visualizing the number 5, opening up your eyes and feeling the healthiest you have felt in many years, and then relax. Okay, so there's a very simple meditation, and yes, I love these moving Qigong practices because they're very beneficial, but our minds are very strong. Again, I have to reiterate, if you're telling yourself, I'm somebody with a weakened or hampered immune system, or my doctor says I'm predisposed to X, Y, and Z, then guess what? That actually changes your cells. So what I'm asking you to do is to take control over your mind and really visualize by using that meditation. And by utilizing that meditation, what you actually will do is you will strengthen your cells and change the process. And it's also very good if you start to catch a cold or a flu, to be able to do that practice and to be able to benefit from it changing. So it becomes kind of a choice at some point of mentally how I'm going to approach this whole thing. So what herbal remedies, simple herbal remedies can we do? Well, number one, it starts off with diet and nutrition. Avoiding sugar, cold and raw foods, too much greasy, fatty, fried foods. These types of things actually weaken your immune system because the body has to struggle more to process them, which creates inflammation. And if your blood cells are trying to deal with the inflammation, then guess what? You become more susceptible to flus and viruses. So we want to be able to eat foods that are healthy. So eating foods that are in season right now, pumpkin, gourds, squashes, fennel, leeks. If you click on the link below to Chris's amazing chicken soup, there's a recipe that's very tonifying for your lungs and also for your whole system, as a matter of fact. So click on the link below for that, for a great recipe. But herbal remedies, what herbal remedies? Well, as far as a single herb goes, astragalus root has been known throughout history to be able to strengthen your immune system. So what I like to do in the morning is, most people know that I start off my morning with a 4-ounce glass of hot water and lemon. Well, I take 2 droppers full of astragalus, the single herb, and I drop it into my water and I drink that down. Now, I'll be honest with you, it doesn't taste the greatest. It kind of tastes like you're drinking twigs, but it's so good for your immune system. What else? Oh, the herbal formula, jade windscreen, is also great during this time of the year, because guess what the first herb in there is? Astragalus root. Now, it's mixed with other herbs to help to really benefit all aspects of your immune system. So click on the link below for that. And if you're somebody that is susceptible to catching colds too, that jade windscreen is very, very good to help to prevent. So this is the time of year that you want to take that jade windscreen. And also the herbal formula yin chow is very beneficial in order to be able to not only ward off the possible intrusions of pathogens in our body, but if you do get sick, then you take a handful of those. Seriously, you take a minimum of 4 to 5 every 4 hours, and what should happen is that we should start to see that within the first day or so that you could actually push this stuff out. All right, so build it, pushing out the pathogen, strengthening our immune system. The next thing though I just really want to emphasize on is to sweat. All right, so if you're feeling body aches and chills, sore throat coming on and maybe a sinus headache coming on, then I want you to sweat. You're going to take 2 cups of Epsom salt and lay in a hot bath, as hot as you can tolerate it. And I want you to lay back, submerge your upper shoulders and neck where those wind gates are, and I want you to go ahead and I want you to feel imagine the pathogens leaving out the body and into the bath water. Okay, so the hot water opens up the pores, and then the Epsom salt actually helps to pull the pathogens out. So a lot of times when we have those body aches, it's the telltale sign that the invasion of the pathogen is attacking the first level of the body, which is referred to as our Wei level. So our Wei level refers to these yang meridians in the back. So we want it to attack that area because this is where the initial fight is. So the best way, if you're starting to have body aches like that, is to go ahead and sweat. Now, after you sweat for about 10 or 15 minutes, make sure that you rinse and wash your body off, and then dry off, and do not go into a draft, okay? So there you go. Here's some very, very basic remedies to be able to build your immunity during this autumn season. And if you are somebody, like I said, that is susceptible, starting these little tricks of the trade, so to speak, will definitely help you change the process of catching anything. The whole idea here is to empower you to be the best person that you could possibly be, to become your own superior doctor, not giving your power away to somebody else to tell you what to do and what not to do as far as your healthcare goes, but really understand your own body and how it functions in connection with nature, and what you could do to not only prevent but also help to remedy yourself if you do get sick. So I'm Chris Shelton. So grateful to be here with you today, signing off from a beautiful day in sunny San Jose, California, the heart of Silicon Valley. Until next time, I will see you later. So my wife Parisa's yoga teacher, Sean Paul, has a great song, and click on the link below talking about the immune system. So please click on that song. She's very creative. I love the song, and she made the song, her and her husband put together the song right around the time as this pandemic was unfolding. And so this may be another way to be able to uplift your spirits and to remind yourselves that they're supposed to be healthy and strong.
My white blood cells are healthy and prepared to protect me. My white blood cells are healthy and prepared to protect me. My white blood cells are healthy and prepared to protect me. My white blood cells are healthy and prepared to protect me. For my trillions of cells are dancing, are dancing. For my trillions of cells are dancing, are dancing. For my trillions of cells are dancing, are dancing. Prepared to protect me. My white blood cells are healthy and prepared to protect me. For my trillions of cells are dancing, are dancing. For my trillions of cells are dancing, are dancing. For my trillions of cells are dancing, are dancing. For my trillions of cells are dancing, are dancing.